Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to Chris's Inked Pens for May of 2020. I'm going to show you the pens that I chose for this coming month, for this month of May 2020. We'll look at the pens, then we'll look at an ink panel. I choose my inks first every time, so then I go back in after I've chosen my inks and I choose the nibs and pens that I think are going to work best with them. So then after that we'll do a writing sample, and then we'll look at a report card from last month, and I'll tell you how the inks and pens did in April of 2020, which most of my pens are empty. So let's look at what I chose. These come up a lot. The first one is the Twinz B Go in the Sapphire, and this one does have the broad nib on it. And then next we have a pen that, this is my first use of it. This is the first time I've inked it up. It's the Nemosine Singularity. It's very pretty. It's in that coral, and it has a fine nib. And wow, I was really pleasantly surprised when I inked this up, and I couldn't believe I hadn't tried it yet, because this was a gift from a pen friend quite some time ago, so I'm going to really enjoy that. Next is the Retro 51 Tornado in the ultraviolet color with a 1.1 nib that came on it. So I haven't switched that out for this month. Okay, next up is another Twinz B Go with the clear finish, and this one also has a broad nib. I really like their broad nibs when they are broad enough for me, which in the Go brand, or in the Go model, they have been. And then next up is a Jinhao 159 that comes up a lot too, and I do have the 1.1 black Goulet stub on it. I'm really happy with this pen. I like the model in general, but this is a pleasing color to me, and I really enjoy it. And it's comfortable for me to write with too. So next up, a pen I don't use that often, but I decided to put a different nib on it once again and try it again. This is the Conklin Duragraph. Sometimes I call it the wrong name. In the Purple Nights. And I did go ahead and put a Goulet black broad nib on it, a nib that I know I really like. And I was really pleasantly surprised. I think you'll enjoy it too when you see how that performed with that nib. I mean, I haven't done tons of writing yet. I've just, inked them up, made sure they wrote. And then next up is my little vintage pen that I just really love. And it's the Waterman, I never know whether to say Waterman's or Waterman, but it's the 52 with a little beautiful number 2 nib on it, which has a little flex in it. And it just is so pretty. It's the little pocket model, and this was also let's see, this pen, the Retro 51, and this one was also a pen friend gift. So I really enjoy this pen, the way it writes, and I'm hoping the ink choice was good for it. And next up is Diplomat Magnum that I had kind of resting in between. I hadn't written with it for a few weeks at least, and this is in the gray, and it's got the medium nib on it. So you can probably guess what color ink is in it, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so next I'm going to show you the ink panel. I almost want to start with that, but I just think that it's probably wiser to start with the pens. But here we go. I'll set up and I'll show you each of the ink colors that I chose. Okay, so all of these inks have something in common. I have them in sample form, and they were all gifted to me by pen friends and viewers of this channel. So that is just awesome. And it's fun. It's like expanding beyond the bottled inks that I have, and even beyond some of the larger small bottles and samples. So this ink and this one, these two just came in, like they're hot off the press, and I just couldn't stand it. The first one is this beautiful teal Sailor, 50 States, California. I fell in love with that immediately. And you could see that it has a little bit of water resistance, so that's cool. And then next up is this beautiful Diamine Cult Pens Deep Dark Orange. It's gorgeous, and of course, well, I have it in this pen, which we're going to talk about. They're all kind of in order, but still, I'll keep that for then. But it's a really nice match for that pen too, because of that coral finish, having a a color that really matches with it, which is just a nice side effect, I guess. And then next is the Noodler's Violet, which also appears to have a little bit of water resistance. And it's just a gorgeous plum, dark purple. Oh my gosh, it's pretty. And then next up is Pure Pens. I'm not sure how to say this. I think I'm supposed to know because I kind of vaguely remember some notes on it, but I can't find them. Llanberis Slate. We'll say it quick and hope it was right. And it's a beautiful gray. It's quite a bit lighter than this Birmingham gray, and yet wait till you see in the nib. It really came out nice. Then next up is KWZ Standard Honey, which I love for its complexity. I also love that brand of ink. They tend to flow really well, and I just have had so much, inky fun with the KWZ inks. Okay, next up is Noodler's Saguro Wine. Beautiful kind of magenta, right in my wheelhouse, I guess you'd say. I just love that color. And then next is one that, I think this originally came in an ink flight, but then I believe I also was gifted a sample. And this is Krishna Sufi, and it's a limited edition ink, and it's just gorgeous. It's got lots and lots of complexity, and it's got lots of red sheen, which I was beginning to see just in my quick scribble. And then next up, last but not least, is Birmingham Slag Gray, which is a dark gray. But as most of you who've watched me know, I love Birmingham inks. They behave so well. They flow really well. They clean up really well. And they're so nicely priced. You can hardly get your hands on it because it goes quick. But this was, again, like all the rest, was a pen friend gift. And I'm so excited to try this gray. So I'm going to pause and then set up for the writing sample. I'll be right back. Okay, so first up we have the Twinz B Go with the broad nib and the Sapphire. And in there we have that beautiful Sailor 50 States, California. So let's see what that looks like. And I sure hope we can get focus. It's sometimes very challenging, and it's really hard to see what I'm doing plus right at the same time. So. Okay, there's the ink swatch, working around this tripod too. Okay, so Twinz B Go with the broad nib. I've been so happy with these two pens. We won't write Sapphire because we can see that, but we're going to put Sailor 50 States, California. And it's just beautiful. Let's go ahead and do a little mini swatch. We'll try that again. I don't think there we go. Okay. It's a beautiful teal. I love it. And it shades. You can see the shading probably even from the distance that you're having to see it with my little setup. Okay, so next is the Nemosine or Nemosine Singularity in the coral. And it's got a fine nib. And I've got in it that beautiful Diamine Cult Pen's Deep Dark Orange. I just love this ink, and this is going to be a wonderful note taker, I think. The nib is so smooth. I don't know why that surprises me, probably just because I don't have any experience with this brand at all. I have a lot to learn to even be able to do a first impressions of it, or, any sort of review. Singularity. But I will say that just right off the bat, the nib is so smooth that I'm really impressed. And it's a fine nib. I don't always go for fine nibs. I'm going to write coral because I'm not quite used to it being what the color name is. Diamine Cult Pens Deep Dark Orange. And it's like a burned orange. It's beautiful ink. Okay. I'm probably going to use up more space than I need to yet. But that was worth it to see that little ink smear there. Okay, next, third up is the Retro 51 Tornado in the Ultraviolet. And it's got that 1.1 stub on it that came on it. Oh, I was supposed to leave a little more space. Well, I'll start doing that, because when I do the report card, I find I need a little more room over here, and I always forget, but that's okay. This will remind me. Okay, so this is Retro. Oh, I just love this ink and this pen, the way the ink, the nib loves this ink. Tornado. Goodness, my brain. 1.1 stub. Okay, well, ultraviolet. I guess I should write these down, even though this is the only one I have. So if I'm looking back, wondering years from now, with the TWSBI, that's not the case, though. I think I'll go back and write that in. Okay. Noodler's Violet. Oh, just a beautiful ink. Okay, and look at that. That's a really wet nib, you can tell. Okay. And ink, because it takes both really to produce that. Now let's go back, and I do want to just put Sapphire so I'll know which pen it was. The clear one performs about the same, but I just want to be sure I remember. Okay, so next is the TWSBI Go in the clear. Let's see, I got to remember that this is I'm probably going to have to start scooting just a little so you can continue to be able to see. And it's got a broad nib on it. And this has the Pure Pens Llanberis Slate. I just love gray ink, and I don't mind having two pens inked up with gray because I just love it. Okay, so let's do that. Oh, there I went again, just with the one space. That's okay, I'll learn one of these days. What I really want is the two. TWSBI Go. Broad, clear. Okay, identified my pen. Pure Pens. Llanberis Slate. This is a really nice wet combination. Look at that. That's nice. Let me do that again. Yeah, I like that. Very satisfying. Okay, so I really have a feeling that's going to be nice. That's going to be just as pretty for letter writing, I think. Of course, I like gray, so. Okay, next up is the trusty Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 nib. This is the rose gold one. I don't think I even mentioned that when I did. Maybe I skipped over the pen. I don't remember now. I'll have to view this and see what kind of nonsense I did. So I've got the KWZ Standard Honey ink in this, and I am loving it. And, you know, I haven't written a letter yet with it, but just to tinker with it and check it. Oh, it's writing nice and wet, which is what I like. A fire hose, basically. Okay, it's 1.1 Goulet. I guess I should have put a little more designation on some of these. And this is the rose gold one. Because I do have, what, 4 or 5 of these Jinhao 159s. I love them. KWZ Standard Honey. Oh gosh, that is just, ooh, look at that, look at that. That's what I like. Okay, I couldn't resist that. I hope I didn't like make you dizzy or anything. Okay, hopefully we're retaining some kind of focus. Okay, next up is the pen that starting to grow on me the more I experiment with different nibs on it, the Conklin Duragraph Purple Nights. It's a beautiful pen, and I've loved the looks of it since I got it, but I didn't love the nib that came on it, and I get grumpy if I pay $52, I think, for a pen that I can't use the nib that came on it. But that's lesson learned, and things are changing. I think they're putting different nibs on now, so I've got to remember to revise my, you know, knowledge every so often and not stay thinking that all the nibs are going to be bad. I just got a bad one. Okay, and what I have in here is the broad Goulet nib, and I've got the Noodler Saguro. I'm not really sure if I'm saying that right, but the beautiful magenta Noodler's ink. So, Conklin Duragraph. Purple Nights. Well, and I don't remember if they did it nights like a real night or nights like, oh dear, I don't remember. So I'm just going to spell it like that. With a broad Goulet nib. I want to know that, so I'll put a little abbreviation. Oh, this is beautiful. My pen friend that sent me this sample is an artist, and I can see why she loves this. This is gorgeous. I can't believe I haven't been writing with this since the day she sent it. Oh, mercy. I've been a little slow here. Okay, oops, well, that just shows how nice and juicy that combination is. That really redeems the pen for me. Apparently that's going to be like a super matchup. I forgot to do the honey. I wanted to do the little smear with that too. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, my pinky's okay. I don't want to mix colors, but oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Okay, so next up is the little, beautiful little and practical little vintage pen, the Waterman's 52 with the number 2 nib on it, and it has that flex to it. So I've got in it Krishna Sufi. Let's see, make my little, and it's a dark green with a lot of red sheen. I'm not sure what we're going to see here because it's a little hard to show it. Also, I need to remember that I can get that flex out of it. It's not something I'm used to, and I'm very careful with it anyway. But, and I always just put number 2 nib. I'm not sure how to designate that. I think it's a fine. It appears to be, and this is a pocket pen. I love the little thing on the end where you can hang it on a lanyard. It's so lightweight. Okay, this is Krishna Sufi. And I'm going to write down LE because it is a limited edition. I don't know if it's still around or not. I'd have to go and look. I may look when I do the description for this video. I'll look and see if there's anywhere still. Okay, and last but not least is the Diplomat Magnum Soft Touch in the gray. And this has been a nib I'm very impressed with too. So I've got the other gray ink in this one. And it is the Birmingham Slate Gray. So I'll get that on there. Pretty nice wet combination there. Diplomat. Uh-oh, something's going on outside. I can't resist having the windows open because we had a horrible storm and then it blew down our trash bins and everything, and then it got really nice after, so. Okay, and then we got Birmingham. Last time I checked, they didn't have any of this on stock, but such a lovely sample. It's really nice to be able to try this and then keep my eyes open. Maybe later they'll have it. Okay, very nice. I like that. Okay, so there we have it. Let me fix it so we can see them all maybe at the same time. Really excited about this. Of course, you know, when I do the broad and the stub nibs, I'm really thinking about letter writing with all of those. But that doesn't mean I won't write with the finer nib, and I'm not sure that's a fine nib. It may be, it may not be, because it writes so nice and wet. Anyway, there's a lot of red sheen on that. I don't know if I can get it where you can see it. It's a little tricky to be able to do that, but I can see that it's almost making it look black. You can see the green here, and then, but it has a lot of red sheen. But I believe I'll use all of these for letter writing, but especially the Nemosine I'm going to use for some note-taking, definitely. And I'll probably, you know, work it into my letters because people like to see, I think, the different inks in different pens and nibs. So that'll be really fun. And, you know, at least there's something I can get positive about and get enthused about during this really uncertain time. So I'm pleased. So now we'll go back and we'll do the report card for April 2020. I'll be right back. There, here it is in a nutshell. So first up I had, and some of these I've got right here with me, so I'll just, will refresh us. The TWSBI Eco 1.1 in the white and rose gold. I have the Diamine Soft Mint. Now you can tell I didn't use a lot of the ink in this one. It's beautiful, but it felt too dry to me. So I did, some of you that got letters from me would see that I did use it a little, but I wasn't happy with how it was writing, and so I've got to try other inks in that pen and determine whether it is the nib or whether it wasn't, you know, just the best combination for ink. So I gave it a B because it is really pretty, and if I used my patience and maybe did a little bit of, you know, forcing the ink into the, but who wants to have to do that? So anyway, it got a B, and probably is lucky it got a B. But then next up was the TWSBI Diamond 580 all in the clear. That's this one. And you can't tell, but I used quite a bit of the ink of this because I really love it. And that gets an A. It's just excellent. And in that nib, that medium TWSBI nib, I had really, really good flow. Whoops. I failed to write medium down. And that's something that in the future, that might be difficult for me to remember. Of course, I may not have different, yeah. Let's make sure that I know that that was a medium nib. I know it now, but I may not remember. So A, excellent. The color and the flow was just wonderful. And then the winner, the pen winner, pen and ink combo winner of the month was the Moonman M600S. Oh, I put that up in the pen case, but you've seen it. It's the beautiful purple pen, or violet, I guess it is. And I had in it the Yo-Wo broad nib that originally came on my Serendipity, and I had Blackstone Barrister Violet, which is my favorite permanent ink, and it just made a wonderful writer all month long in April. So just about everybody who got a letter from me got some of that in their letter. Usually I would lead with it because I really like it. I gave it an A+ and chose it as my favorite for the month. And then next up was the Jinhao 159 1.5 Goulet. Okay, so I didn't write, that was the orange one. Huh. And I cleaned that, and that went up today into the pen case too, the Monteverde pen case. I really need to make a note though. Let's see which pen it was. You know, I don't remove those feeds. I don't switch the feeds, just the nibs. So I like to know which one is performing how. So I got to do that. Okay. So I had Monteverde Topaz, and I got an A. It was excellent color, it had good shading, and I really thought it had good flow too. And it's a lighter ink than what I'm, you know, super crazy about usually, but I loved it. And then next up was the beautiful Jinhao, 159, the green, the bright green, lime green one. Huh, I guess I didn't write that down either. That's silly of me. That's not going to serve me in the future. So, I'm going to put lime. That way I'll know which pen it was. With the broad Goulet nib, started to write Yo-Wo, and the Diamine Kelly green. And I like that. I like that a lot. In fact, I filled it again. And it's now been cleaned out. So that means I went through 2 fills of that. That's incredible. In 1 month. That's with all these other pens. Of course, I neglected a few of them, but we won't talk about that. So I gave it an A. The Lamy Vista with a 1.1 stub and Birmingham Luna Park Marmalade. Okay, I felt like readability was still low for me on the Tomoe River paper, so I didn't pick it up and use it as much in letters. But it's so funny because whenever I get, and I did get a letter from someone with this same type of combination, it was okay with me to read. So I'm not sure what that's all about. Probably just me. So I gave it a B+ because it's really pretty. I mean, you can see that probably here. It's an orangey yellow and it's real pretty. So next up was the Lamy Safari with the fine nib, and that's a incredible nib. Of course, it writes more like a medium, but and I've written with it so much, it's probably just like, literally, it's probably polished and like smooth just because of how much I've written with that particular nib, if there is such a thing. That's my dark lilac Safari with Diatramenous Aubergine, and also known as Alexander Hamilton. I gave that an A, and that was my favorite note taker for April 2020. So excellent flow, color, and readback, note taking joy. Yeah, that was, oh gosh, it made me want a bottle of that, which I don't even want to tell you how many purple ink bottles I have. So, but that just, I'm not going to forget that experience. And I wouldn't be surprised if one day, someday, after lots of other needs are taken care of, that might hop into a cart of mine. But okay, so next up, let's see. And I didn't, no, that's cleaned out. Yeah, that's all cleaned out now. Of course, you know, I used it all. I dried it right down to nothing. And then I decided, well, there's only another day before the new month, so I have no business refilling it because I want to try new ones. Okay, so the next one I do still have loaded up with some ink. It's not completely empty. Is, whoops, make sure you could see that. The Lamy All-Star with the Lamy Brown nib and It's the Vibrant Pink pen, and it had Monteverde Kindness Pink. I gave it an A-. It was slightly dry, and I don't believe that's the nib. So I do believe that, you know, compared to some other inks that I've used, for me anyway, I wasn't getting that fire hose that I just demonstrated, which one I liked so much, the one that it's just so wet you better not breathe on it or it'll run. But so that was really nice, just slightly dry, and it didn't stop me from using that for letters. It was really nice. I'm just super picky because I've tried so many inks, and once you get used to what you really like, it's hard to even you know, you start getting fussy, I guess. So then, last but not least, for April 2020 was my Twinz B Go with a broad nib, and I didn't write down. Whoa! Oh yeah. Okay. So I needed to put. Oh no, I did put yellow. The yellow one. My newest edition. Now that's almost empty. Not quite, but I used a lot of the ink. That was full, and that was the Graaf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. I gave it an A+. I said, wow, and it quickly became a favorite over the medium nib. Okay, interesting too, because that same ink in the Diamond 580 medium didn't wow me like this did. So I really like that. I like it in my medium Twinz B Mini, which is much drier than this pen. But I love it equally in this, so I just really love it. So then I made a few notes. Let's see what I wrote. Best letter writing was the Blackstone Barrister Violet, so that was in the Moon Man pen, the M600S, and then and I really loved the Monteverde. So second was the Monteverde Topaz in the Jinhao 159, and the best note taker was by miles and miles was the Diatramentis Alexander Hamilton, that dark purple. It's so incredible how that feels coming out of that fine Lamy nib. So there we have it. Let's look at the pens one more time before we say goodbye here. Ooh, this got long. And I really feel I owe an apology to you all, because I just haven't done the kind of videos that I usually do, and it's been a little rough, but yet at the same time, I'm doing what I need to do, and I know it'll all come back. You know, it'll come back little by little. This is a highlight of my whole entire month. Even when things are going bad or rough or stressful, I just love it when I choose the inks for a new month like this. So this is really fun. I don't know. Let me try to make a prediction today on which one will be my favorite. Okay, I have to say, I think without the experience of a whole month writing letters, I think this is going to end up being my favorite letter writing ink, because that was just coming right out of that. And then, of course, this one was doing the same thing, kind of really nice wet writer, the KWZ Standard Honey, and don't they look nice together? I mean, I'm not very good at that kind of thing, so who knows? But to me, they looked really pretty. So we'll see on the report card next month how it goes and everything, and I'll probably talk about it between now and then too. But I'm going to let you go because this is pushing 30 minutes. I hope you're doing okay. I'm, up and down and all over the place, even though I have nothing more than inconveniences in my life right now. There's no real problems for me, so I sometimes say shame on you for being down or whatever, but I don't stay down, and I know what to do to get back up. So, and this is one of those things. Get those pens out. I cleaned a bunch of pens this morning, and then ready to go with new ones. And we have another day left, but I don't have very many pens still with ink to write with, but I'm going to try to empty as much as I can the rest of today and tomorrow. And these are for May 2020. So let me know in the comments what you're planning to write with for May. And I'll really enjoy hearing that. Bye for now.